It's Mackey and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
Yeah, that was a real character game. You know, you learn a little bit about yourself. You deal with a lot. There were a ton of different things that came up in that game. A lot of them made life difficult for our guys, and we kind of fought through it, dealt with whatever came our way, put some runs on the board, put more runs on the board, had some guys go out there and really do their jobs on the mound. I mean, there was a lot going on today, and it ended in a big moment for Polo and the rest of our team.
Come on, Judd.
Get the brooms.
Beat the Tigers.
Sweep.
Take that, Tigers.
Yes. I don't know. Declan and I are fired up here. Twins
They're back.
ending the first half of the season on a high note. Rocco with some pep in his step after that series going into the All-Star
He's about
break.
to be a married man. How can you not have a pep in your step?
Is he getting married during the All-Star break? That's
I
the word?
believe he's yes. I guess he said he's getting married like Tuesday.
Is he walking down the aisle to Fish or Widespread Panic or which hippie band do you think he's playing for his first dance song?
Probably Fish.
Yeah.
I'd follow that with some Grateful Dead.
Very
maybe.
exciting. A lot of great
Trucking.
Minnesota sports figures getting married during the seasons. Christian Ponder, Rocco Baldelli. It's very exciting. So I don't know. I mean, Declan and I are sitting here. We're on a high. We're reevaluating our entire stances on the Twins.
Well,
and then here comes Judd barreling into SKORNorth.com with his cold bucket of water, as always. And so I don't know. The floor is yours. Go ahead. We're sitting here waiting for the cold bucket of water to be dumped on our heads. You might as well just do it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. The Twins lost 2 or 3 to the White Sox, and because of various commitments and things, I didn't attend a game. So I felt that I would make that up by going to all 4 games and sitting through all of them of the Tigers-Twins series. So I felt that I would have a good grasp on this ball club as they entered the All-Star break. And, you know, as a byproduct, a good grasp on the Detroit Tigers, the Bengals, the Motor City Club. And so here's the issue. All right, so the Twins swept. Did you guys see this Tigers bullpen? Did you see, like, if you could play Detroit the rest of the season, like, if you could play, if they could turn this into a Twins tournament, which would involve the Royals, the Tigers, and the Twins, and maybe Cleveland too. Of course, the White Sox can't be involved because they're actually very good. But if you could involve a Twins tournament at Target Field and Comerica Park and Kauffman Stadium, the Twins might have a very good chance because you can beat the Tigers because their bullpen is so predictable that, boys, when the Tigers put Joe Jimenez in the game yesterday, and I think the Twins were down by like 2 or 3 runs, I tweeted within 15 minutes of this pitching move, the Twins will lead. I was wrong. The game was tied.
Well, I see major league pitchers on all of those rosters, okay? I don't know why you have to discriminate against who's a real major leaguer and not. And why can't you just enjoy the season? Why can't you just take some joy? It's 80 degrees. It's sunny.
Oh, I love being at the
baseball
ballpark.
being played.
I went to all 4 games.
Polo is hitting walk-off home runs, and you can't just be happy for 24
Simba?
hours.
Look, I can't be happy because I am paid to have an opinion about this club, which I predicted would win 96 games and instead has turned into a bunch of choking pigs, unfortunately. So I cannot be happy because Sports Dad is also a doctor of sports. And a doctor of sports can't say, well, I almost saved the patient. Wasn't that great? But the patient died. I know, but we were so close. We were so close. We kept the patient alive for an extra 20 minutes. Did you see what I did there? But doctor, he died or she died. Okay? So as a doctor of sports and a sports dad, I refuse to be happy about something that is as meaningless as a sweep of the Tigers. It doesn't mean it wasn't great weather. It doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy, actually, the Sunday game was terrible because it was just such a joke. But Saturday was good. I enjoyed the game, but I refuse to enjoy what this Twins team has become, which is, for the most part, a running punchline in the American League.
I have a strong opinion on this that I've withholded to this point because it's fun just to put a quarter in Judd. But yes. Declan, I want your thoughts here too. Do you feel like Judd is unnecessarily pouring a cold bucket of water on the most fun 4-game stretch of the season so far? Or do you think he's warranted in saying, no, sorry, I'm not going to eat this BS that you're trying to feed me after 2 months of crappy baseball?
You know, it reminds me of like you're in your pool and that annoying like uncle keeps dunking your head underwater for no reason to try to get you to swim. And it's just like, dude, can I just like hold on the railing for a little bit while like I tread the water and just like experience me being myself in the water without you dunking my head profusely into the water trying to kill me? Like, I do think you're pouring too much cold water onto this. That being said, it's okay to have the realistic expectations and have the self-awareness that this team is still like 13, 12 games below 500. Multiple games back from a wild card spot.
Okay, they've cut it to 11.
11, excuse me, 11 games behind. But I do think Judd is pouring a little bit too much cold water on a sweep to close out the first half of the season on a gorgeous weekend at Target Field. I do think there's too much cold water being poured by Judd. Just a little bit.
All right, so I 100% agree with Judd here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right.
That's
Sometimes you need a cold bucket of water to wake you up from your slumber as a fan, your zombie-like state as you've walked through 30 years of no men's championships in this town. And I was thinking about this last night as I rested my head on the pillow and was scrolling through Judd fighting with people on Twitter, which is hilarious. And I think the 2001 Twins and the 2020 Minnesota Vikings are great microcosms for why we haven't had a men's championship here in 30-plus years with the Twins, in forever with the Vikings, forever with either the Wild or the North Stars, where these teams, and this doesn't always happen, but like the 2001 Twins and the 2020 Vikings train wrecked out of the gate, right? The Vikings started 1-5. Kirk Cousins led the league in turnovers through the first month and a half. It was a wildly disappointing start to the season. Going in, everyone thought this is a playoff contending team. They're going to build off what they won a playoff game the year before, right? Train wreck out of the gate. Same thing with the Twins. Oh, man, this is all right. Now this is the time where we're going to win a playoff game for the first time in 2 decades, right? Going to build on this thing, added a couple relievers, and then you train wreck out of the gate. And then what happens is halfway through, or whatever the case may be, week 7 in the NFL, and now closer to the All-Star break, the team shows signs of life. And people start to get excited. Look at how well Kirk Cousins is playing. Oh, all you guys who ragged on Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, look at how great he played from week 7 until week 15. Boy, look at Miguel Sano's OPS between this sliver of time between like the end of June and the second week in July. Oh, man, you guys have been ripping on Max Kepler, but look at him now. He's hitting home runs all the time. And it's like, people think Judd is being negative when he rejects this sweep over the Tigers. Judd is the coroner coming in to do an autopsy on a dead body. And the family is like, no, he's blinking now. See, it's like, no, he's not. No, it's a dead body. I don't care. Like maybe the arm twitched, okay? Like the arm is twitching.
That's called rigor.
Rigor.
That's
and
a rigor mortis, okay?
Judd is coming in to do an autopsy on a dead body, and people are like, well, no, just give it like 20 more minutes. Bring the paddles back in and see. And it's like, I don't have a problem with the autopsy. And sometimes people think we're too negative on this show, all right? But we want championships. We set a high bar for what we want our teams to achieve, and we're not going to sit here. Now, did I get some enjoyment out of Jorge Polanco hitting him? Yeah, it was kind of fun. All right, sent a little jolt through, but I can't disagree with anything Judd has said. These two things are not like each other. What the Twins have fed you for 2.5 months is a huge steaming pile of crap, all right? It's a dead body. And what the Twins gave you over the weekend against the Tigers is relatively meaningless in the grand scheme. And if we want these teams to win championships, you can't just be tricked by Kirk Cousins and the Vikings played really well against the Jaguars and the Panthers, right? Look at the Twins. They're beating up on the lowly Tigers and the Royals. Like, don't be tricked by these little blips of success in meaningless moments when you've already train wrecked out of the gate. So
and the why can't you just enjoy this statement is why, for the most part, we accept mediocrity to worse. Because it's like, well, why can't you enjoy the sweep of the Tigers? Have you watched the last 2 months, right? My doctorate includes this. As a sports therapist in this town, I'm going to introduce a new word to this show. Now, it's not a new word because it's a clinical term, but I really think it's part of our problem. And I do think that our goal in chasing championships and in trying to get people in this town to and this is not condescending, but to try to get them to understand where we need to be mentally, because that's where we're not. And I don't blame you folks. This is our fault. This is the media in this town, which has spoon-fed you sunshine and lollipops so long that you have no clue. And it's not your fault, because if you grew up here, my God, you started with Sid. Defend everybody. But here is the term that I think that we should introduce to our lexicon here on Mackey and Judd as far as our sports therapist practice goes. Because the Wild has done this. The 2020, to Phil's point, Vikings did this very much at 1-5, and to a certain degree, the Twins have done it the past 4 games. We are being sports gaslit. We are being sports gaslit by these teams. And my young friend, Declan Goff, who I love like a son, exactly right. But you know what? Who himself is in relationships now and is trying to find the right person. And think about how close
did I miss an update here?
Wait a minute.
No, but I'm saying I don't know where.
I haven't said anything about what happened this weekend. Hold on.
Okay.
Easy.
Look, I've got sources, okay? You don't be a former lead Vikings beat writer without sources.
Oh, my God.
Anyway. I'm going to stay away from
AccessDeclan.com.
.com. Chip called me. We're going to break the story. That'll be later today at SKORNorth.com. Anyway, think about this, though. We are being gaslit as sports fans. How many times? So my statement years ago now, which probably goes back, 4 or 5 years, about the Wild being the furious rallies, right? That's gaslighting you from a sports standpoint. That's we're not done yet. We're not done. Watch us now. And then people come back and they're like, oh, you know what? Wild, I'm so glad that I stayed. You know what? You've changed. And then at the first sign of adversity, what do? They pull the same crap, and we're in the same dysfunctional relationship until the next time that they come back. And the Twins, oh, look at this. We beat the Tigers. Rocco, that was a character test right there. A character test?
Come on.
You failed the character test miserably for 2+ months, and the Tigers? Stop being gaslit by these teams. These teams are taking your faith in them, your trust, in a lot of cases, your hard-earned dollars, and they're abusing you as a fan. I'm not telling you to stop following them or cheering for them or pushing them to try to get a championship. Don't break up with them, but also don't buy into them. Not when it's BS.
I got another phrase. I like where you're going. Sports gaslighting. Minnesota sports gaslighting. I like that. I've got another one that we have uttered on this show before, but just in the spirit of gaslighting, okay? If you're still gaslighting your house when it comes to your heating systems, for instance, get out of the 1900s, all right? Burnsville Heating and Air. Not only are they great at what they do when it comes to HVAC installation, but they are hiring right now, okay? Burnsville Heating and Air has an immediate need for hard-working people to join new construction departments, hiring all levels of experience, whether you have literally like zero experience at all and you're just curious and willing to learn, whether you're a lead, a finisher, an equipment setter. They'll give you on-the-job training if necessary, and they'll even give you up to a $2,000 sign-on bonus. So Burnsville Heating and Air looking to hire, and they'll give you a job within 10 to 20 minutes of your home on job site, so you don't have to drive, for instance, to Burnsville. If you live far away from Burnsville, they'll find a job site for you that's within 10 to 20 minutes of your of wherever you live. Apply now at burnsvilleheating.com and click careers. burnsvilleheating.com and click careers. Here's another phrase.
I appreciate them too. See, I'm positive there. I'm positive about them.
That's good.
You see, everybody thinks
Judd
on
smart,
Monday.
They
he's
support
negative.
our show. So.
Burnsville Heating and Air, I'm positive about. They're a winner.
Here's another phrase, all right? And this is why, listen, I tweeted this yesterday. Celebrate that win all you want, but don't get tricked into, like what Rocco said after the game, this is a character win. My man. Then what would you call the first 2.5 months of the season? What would you call the debacle in Oakland? What would you call some of these other games where Alex Colomé melted down 5 different times, right? So like the character win thing, sports standards. I think that's what we lack here oftentimes in the Twin Cities. Sports standards and not just being happy with winning divisions, not just being happy with getting to the playoffs and seeing what happens. Boy, if they can just finish 10-6 and get in and see what happens. It's like, how many teams are finishing 10-6 and winning Super Bowls? Not many. It's 12-4. It's 13-3. It's 14-2. Let's raise the bar for all of these men's teams around the Twin Cities. Let's raise our sports standards. And when you have high sports standards, to Judd's point, like, you don't get overly excited about beating the Tigers. And it doesn't mean you can't enjoy watching the game. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy, but it's like taking it to the next level and saying it's a character win, or look, they're back. They should consider now adding pitching at the deadline. It's like they would literally have to go 54-19 the rest of the way to get to 93 wins, which I think is around what it's going to take to be a wild card team this year. So I don't know. Like, I'm having a little bit of trouble with, I don't want to just always pour cold water on everything until they win a championship, because I think there is a middle ground to enjoy your local teams. But I also feel like it's 2021. This is a landmark year, 30 years since the last time a men's team won a championship in this town. So we're now a third of a century, basically, since the last men's championship in this town. And I just think, like, we've coasted along for years and years, and we've just sort of accepted that, yeah, I guess the Yankees are going to beat the Twins every time they play a game against each other. And, well, I guess, you know, we're just going to have to settle for the 11th best quarterback in the NFL. And it's like we've just sort of resigned to the fact that, like, well, it's if you can just sort of get in and be okay. And I'm just kind of sick of it. I just want to see a championship before I die, all right?
Well, yeah, but for the most part, the problem is that aside from guys like Royce, a lot of the media in this town conditions you, especially electronic, to accept that. To be like, oh, yeah, hey, the Twins won or something, you know, look at this comeback. And instead of us having, to your point, Phil, sports standards, and then the team is always going to try, for the most part, to gaslight you. Like, that's their job. Oh, look, the Twins, you know, the Twins tweet out, oh, big win, you know, we scored. I mean, they've seriously tweeted out that I think they scored all but like 2 of their runs from the 6th inning on this past weekend in the 4 games against Detroit. And they tweeted this out like it's a great stat. No, it just means Detroit's bullpen's horse bleep. But they're going to gaslight you naturally because that's their job, to make you believe that things are great and going well. It's our job to say, hold on a second here. First of all, you've been terrible. Second of all, there is a championship parade again, the second in 6 months? In Tampa, Florida today for the Lightning, because the Lightning are in what is currently the state of hockey. I don't care what the Wild says. They had a championship for the Buccaneers. The Rays are continually overachieving. Why can't we be them? It's Tampa, Florida. Like, there's no reason. If you say,
it's a terrible sports town.
Right. But I mean, if you say, well, New York, I mean, look at all the money they have and we can't compete there. Okay. And that's our excuse for that. Tampa, Florida is celebrating championships. And by the way, they're doing it today in a sport where we should be as good. There is no reason why the Wild shouldn't be that good. There is, and perhaps they will be. And I like where they're going. But I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here and buy that was a character win, or I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here after the Vikings get off to a 1-5 start in the quarterback in what was really a crucial home game. His first pass is picked off and he plays a terrible game. And then they come out of the bye and beat the Packers. I'm not going to try and tell you and gaslight you and say, oh, they're back. As you said, get off to a good start. Do what you're supposed to do. Don't disappoint us. And I'll be fine. I'll praise you. I want to praise you. Like, I want to praise you. Give me reason to. Don't beat Detroit in 4 and then tell my sorry face, oh, man, this is great.
Sorry.
This is great. We beat Detroit. No, that's it. No, it's not great. Do more. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to come out of the bye and they're going to play 4 more at Detroit, and they might win 3. And then they're going to say, look, we're getting closer to 500. Look at how great this is. And then they go to Chicago. So here's my response. Beat the White Sox. Sweep them. The Angels with Ohtani, and they're not a great team, but they certainly have a great player, come to Target Field. Sweep them. Do that. That's what I want to see. Not beating the Tigers and then tell me it's great.
By the way, all of our Twins discussions here on Mackie and Judd throughout the year are presented by our friends at Dennis Kirk and DennisKirk.com. If you're looking to put a cold bucket of water on the back of a bike and ride it around in this summer heat like Judd Zolgad is, whether you ride a Harley, a cruiser, sport bike, whatever it is, DennisKirk.com has you covered. 160,000 parts and accessories in stock, clothing and helmets as well. The best in the business. If you order by 8 p.m., they ship the same day. So again, DennisKirk.com for all of your riding needs. All right, that was fairly therapeutic.